So by completely eliminating or drastically minimizing the amount of sugary drinks that you consume or alcohol that you consume, it can have a tremendous impact on your body composition and help you to lose the weight that you gained over the course of the holidays. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be explaining how to lose the weight you gained over the holidays. Yesterday, I had released a video called Holiday Weight Gain, Relax, It's Mostly Just Water Weight. And in that video, my main objective was to get the point across that most of the weight that you would have gained over the course of the last several days is not actually fat weight, but in fact, most of that weight is going to be water and glycogen. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to include a link right up over here to that video so you can check it out if you're interested. And hopefully that video talks some of you off the ledge. But for those of you that are still concerned with the weight that you would have gained over the course of the holidays, in today's video, I want to expand upon that video and give you guys some tips on things that you could do today that will help you shed the pounds that you gained over the course of the last several days. Just one of the things that you could do today that will help immediately is going to be drink lots of water. Now, at this point, you may be a little bit confused. You may be thinking to yourself, you just told me that most of the weight that I put on was water weight, so how can drinking more water help me lose that extra weight? And the answer is simple. Over the course of the holidays, most people are going to overindulge in foods, and those foods are going to be very, very high in sodium. And when you consume excess sodium, sodium allows our body to retain water. So if you were consuming a very, very high sodium diet over the course of the last several days, a lot of that water weight is going to be retained in your body because of the excess sodium. Now, I'm not saying sodium is bad. Sodium is absolutely vital to human life. Without sodium, we would die completely. So I don't want you to misinterpret this point into thinking that you need to stay away from sodium altogether. The problem is when you consume excess sodium. So by drinking more water, that water will allow your body to flush out the excess sodium. Another thing you can do today that will make a tremendous impact is going to be stop drinking your calories. A lot of people tend to indulge in things like really sugary drinks like pop or fruit juices, and the truth is those calories will really add up. In just one can of Coke, there are 140 calories. Now, let's say you want to have a can of Coke every single day throughout the entire month of January. If we take 140 calories and multiply it by 31 days in January, that is going to give us 4,340 calories. If we divide that by 3,500 calories, which is the amount of calories found in 1 pound of fat, that is going to equal 1.25 pounds of fat that you will potentially gain if you are in a caloric surplus. So by minimizing the amount of sugary drinks that you consume, it can greatly reduce the amount of excess weight that you will put on in the future. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, you know what, I'm gonna just cut out pop altogether, and instead of consuming pop, I'm gonna have something else, something healthy like orange juice. Orange juice, it has vitamin C and it has orange in the name, so it must be healthy, right? Wrong. One can of orange juice, if it is the same serving size as a can of Coke, is actually going to have more calories and sugar than the can of Coke. In just one 12-ounce serving of Tropicana orange juice, there are going to be 170 calories. If we multiply that by 31, which is the number of days in January, that is going to equate to 5,270 calories. Divide that by 3,500, that equals 1.51. So if you consume one Tropicana orange juice every single day for the entire month of January, that will equate to 1.51 potential pounds of fat that you can gain in the month of January. Now, let's say you're the type of person that you don't really enjoy sugary drinks like pop and things like fruit juices, but you are the type of person that likes to indulge in alcohol every once in a while. Well, same thing with alcohol. The calories can really add up. If you're the type of person that enjoys having a beer after you get home from work, just one can of beer can contain 156 calories. If we multiply that by 31, that is going to equate to 4,836 calories. Divide that by 3,500, and that is going to equal 1.38 pounds of potential fat that you can gain in January by consuming one beer every single day when you get home from work. Let's say you're the type of person where you don't really enjoy beer, but you enjoy having a glass of wine with dinner. Well, in one glass of red wine, there can be 125 calories. If we multiply that by 31, that is going to give us 3,875 calories. If we divide that by 3,500, that is going to equate to 1.12 pounds of potential fat that you can gain from having just one glass of red wine every single day with your meal. So by completely eliminating or drastically minimizing the amount of sugary drinks that you consume or alcohol that you consume, it can have a tremendous impact on your body composition and help you to lose the weight that you gained over the course of the holidays. Another thing with regard to sugar is going to be avoiding really sugary condiments, things like barbecue sauces, really high sugar ketchups, and all those types of condiments, because again, all of that sugar and all of those calories can really add up quite easily. And one of the things with regard to really sugary condiments is if you're the type of person that enjoys tracking calories because it helps you stay on track, a lot of people, they will forget to calculate the calories that are found in those condiments. And they're not magic calories. They don't disappear when you put them in your body. If you are going to be consuming a really high sugar barbecue sauce, then you need to add those up because your body is going to utilize them or it's going to store them as fat. They're not just going to magically disappear because it's not solid food. You need to count every single calorie if you are the type of person that tracks. Me personally, I don't enjoy tracking calories and I don't preach calorie counting to any of my clients because I don't find it very effective in the long run. But if you are the type of person that tracks your calories, make sure that if you consume really high calorie condiments, that you are tracking those as well. Another thing that you could do is prepare all of your meals by yourself. By preparing all of your meals, you are going to know exactly what is in the food that you are eating. A lot of problems is that if you go to restaurants or if you go to fast food, there are going to be a lot of hidden calories in those foods and you may not even realize it. So by preparing all of your own food, you can drastically reduce all of those hidden calories. Things like the sauces they put on there, the creams. If you get a salad from one of these fast food places, they're not going to add the calories found in the different salad dressings. So you want to be able to prepare all of your foods, that way you know exactly what is going into your foods. Another thing that you could do is don't overly restrict your calories. This is something that a lot of people will tend to do over the course of the holiday break. They end up putting a lot of weight over the holidays and then they figure to lose the weight, they can just drastically reduce their calories and then everything is going to be back to normal. And the truth is that is a great strategy if your main objective is to lose a lot of weight in the short run. But if your main objective is to maintain a healthy weight throughout the rest of your life, that is an absolutely terrible strategy. What's going to happen if you excessively restrict your calories is that your body is going to secrete the hormone ghrelin. If you recall, ghrelin is your body's hunger hormone and it is secreted whenever you are in a state of absolute hunger. So if ghrelin is elevated, one of the things that it is going to do is cause you to crave high calorie dense foods, and ghrelin has also been linked to poor decision making. So every single food that you see around you that's really high calorie dense and things that you normally wouldn't eat, you're going to be much more tempted to consume those because of the high levels of ghrelin and because your decision making is not going to be at an optimal level from the raised levels of ghrelin that are going to be circulating throughout your system. So rather than going on an extreme calorie deficit, you would be better off going on something much smaller and more manageable. I made a video not too long ago called How Many Calories Should You Consume? I'm going to include a link right up over here if you are interested. But in that video, I elaborate on how much you should consume. My general recommendation is I like to see anywhere from 0.5% to 1% of total weight loss every single week. So if you are somebody that's 200 pounds, 0.5% to 1% of 200 is 1 to 2 pounds. So if you're somebody who's 200 pounds, 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss every single week is going to be a good goal. You don't need to lose any more than that. If you start going above that, then again, ghrelin's going to be elevated. It's going to make it much easier for you to go out on this binge and then lose all of the progress that you would have made from being on a reasonable calorie restriction. Now, the next thing that you could do is start strength training. One of the reasons why strength training is going to be really beneficial is muscle burns calories. So by incorporating strength training, you can build more muscle, and by building more muscle, that muscle is going to allow you to burn more calories. There is a misconception with regard to muscle. A lot of people will claim that 1 pound of muscle at rest can burn 50 calories, and that is simply false. The truth is 1 pound of muscle is going to burn roughly 6 to 10 calories at rest. Now that may not seem like much, but it is going to add up throughout the course of the week, the month, and even the year, because if you put on 10 pounds, that 10 pounds burns anywhere from 6 to 10 calories at rest. That means that every single day you are burning an additional 60 to 100 calories every single day. And over the course of an entire year, that is going to equate to roughly 35,000 calories, which is going to be 10 pounds of fat. So by incorporating strength training, it can greatly increase your metabolic rate, which will help you to burn more fat in the long run. Now, with regard to strength training, what exactly should you do? Well, if your main objective is to lose weight, then focus on compound lifts. Compound lifts are lifts that involve more than one joint. So anything like pushing, pulling, bending, lunging, squatting, twisting, those are going to be all of your compound lifts, and they're very, very beneficial because you're going to be involving very large muscle areas. You're going to get more muscle recruitment, and because you're involving more muscles and larger muscle areas, you are going to be able to burn many more calories doing compound exercises than something like a bicep curl or a tricep extension that is an isolation exercise and only involves minimal amounts of muscles and very small muscle areas. So if you are trying to lose more weight, then you're going to be better off doing things like compound exercises. Another thing with regard to this is you want to be able to track your workouts to see that you are making progress. By tracking your workouts, it is going to keep you consistent with your routine, because if you see that you are improving every single workout, that is going to be enough to motivate you to continue continue to do that workout. But if you're not tracking it, it can be very easy to just put it off to the side and then stop working out altogether. Now, if you're the type of person where you're not really sure how exactly to train and you don't have no clue what to do in the gym, I made a video. It was a 12-month beginner routine. I'm going to include a link right up over here, but there are essentially 12 different workouts in that video. You can use those 12 workouts over the course of the next year. So all of 2021, if you follow that video, your workouts are completely covered. Another thing that you could do is add in cardio to enhance the results of your fat loss program. Now, this one right over here, it's going to be a matter of personal preference. Me personally, I never do cardio because I don't enjoy it, but it will help you to enhance the results of your fat loss program if you do incorporate cardio, because while strength training is really good at building muscle, cardiovascular exercise is going to be really good at helping to shed fat. So if you do want to speed up the results, then go ahead and add in some cardio just to enhance the results from your weight training program. But if it's something that you don't enjoy and it's going to demotivate you and cause you to just quit the gym because you don't want to run on a treadmill or run on a bike, then don't bother doing it. You don't need to do it. Yes, it is good. Yes, it will help speed up the results, but you can still lose the weight and lose all of the fat without incorporating cardio. It's just an extra tool that you can incorporate. With regard to cardiovascular exercise, what type is going to be best? Well, it's going to vary from individual to individual. Generally, if you are somebody who is severely overweight, I would rather have you do something like walking or very low aerobic activities rather than doing something like running, sprinting, or very high impact aerobics. So if you are somebody who's very overweight, focus on very light exercise, things like walking as opposed to running, because it's going to be very easy for you to be able to sustain that for a long period of time. Whereas if you're doing something like running or sprinting, you're not going to be able to sustain that type of exercise for a very long period of time. Another thing with regard to this is if you are the type of person that has joint issues, if you have any issues with postural dysfunction, I would not recommend running on something like a treadmill. A few months back, I made a video called Top 10 Reasons Not to Run on the Treadmill. I can include a link right up over here if you want to check that out. But essentially, when you run on a treadmill, you are using less muscles, and the muscles that you are using tend to get overactivated, and then the other muscles that you don't use, like your hamstrings and your glutes, are going to be underactivated. So if you have something like an anterior pelvic tilt, running on a treadmill without addressing the causes of your postural dysfunction can exacerbate those symptoms. So if you are the type of person that is severely overweight, or if you have postural dysfunction, I would not recommend the treadmill. You'd be better off walking on a track or running on a track or running on solid ground as opposed to doing that type of activity. And then the last thing that I would like to touch on that can help you to lose those extra pounds is going to be make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of sleep and that you are not staying up too late. With regard to sleep, this is going to be very, very important, because if you don't get enough sleep, your cortisol levels, which is your body's stress hormone, is going to be elevated, and that is going to suppress your body's natural testosterone levels. And speaking of hormones, one other thing if you don't get a lot of sleep is that your levels of ghrelin, if you recall from a couple minutes ago, is your hunger hormone. That is also going to be elevated when you are missing sleep. So by missing sleep, your levels of testosterone are going to be lowered, which is going to make it more difficult to build muscle. Your levels of ghrelin are going to be elevated, which is going to make it easier for you to crave high calorie dense foods and make poor decisions with regard to things like going out on binges. And then aside from that, if you miss sleep for a long enough period of time, your insulin sensitivity is going to decrease. Insulin is your main fat storage hormone. And when insulin sensitivity decreases, what's going to happen is it is going to be a lot easier for your body to store onto body fat. So you want to make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of sleep. That way your hormones are all in balance and you don't have to worry about high levels of cortisol, low levels of testosterone, and high levels of ghrelin circulating throughout your system. Those are just a few of the tips that you can incorporate today to make sure that you end up losing the excess weight that you gained over the course of the holidays. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.